food. I got a reason to dance in love. Rise up like the sun in the morning.